And so here we are then, the final stretch of our January Invitationals, a part of the High School Esports League. Panda behind the scenes bringing all of the pretty pictures to you, and myself, Relic, and them Gaugan bringing you some lyrics to try and make sense of all the chaos that we see on our screens. California, our final state, Gaugan, and two names that are well acquainted with High School Esports League fans. We've got California Connections Academy, the Centauri as they are known, and Quartz-Hill High School, known as the Continuum. To me, at least, it's no surprise why these two teams are here in the grand finals.
Absolutely not. And you can tell just by the path they took to get to this grand finals itself. If we take a look at that bracket as well, you will see that both of these teams had fairly dominant runs to get to this point in the grand final. Cal in through a 4-0 result against the AHS Eagles in the quarterfinals and a 4-1 against Bosco Tech in their semis has seen them through into the grands. On the other side, you've got Quartz-Hill, who managed to complete the LNHS run all the way through, 4-0ing the JV team, 4-1ing the varsity side, and now they find themselves up against this Team 1 of the Centauri. This is sure to be a banger in an evening where all of the grand finals have been fantastic matchups. This one surely will not disappoint.
And both teams with identical records throughout this bracket then. 8 game wins, 1 game loss. Quartz-Hill with J-Spect, Stacken and Ruben, the Centauri California Connections Academy with Extreme to Wins, Exiled, and Yeet. They are going to be the ones, Connections Academy I'm talking about, of course, who are, I guess, classed as the underdogs. They are the second seed moving into this grand finals. But for me, at least, this is another one of those series, Gaugan, which screams game 6, potentially game 7. Quartz-Hill, they might be the number 1 seed, but they did drop that game against the 4 seed in the semifinals. They might be very good, but they are not flawless.
Right, and that's the thing. Let's talk about seeding if we want to, and go back to the previous series where Prosper looked like they were willing to close things out in 4 games against the number 1 seeded Martin Warrior. And now we've got this matchup relatively closer. For as much as you want to back those paper statistics and how strong these two teams are, what matters most is how you play right here. Underway, game 1, Quartz-Hill taking on CalCA Centauri in a best of 7 in the first goal. Well, it didn't take that much time. Yeet gets us going in 5.
And this is why you have to decide what you want to do with the ball quickly, because otherwise you're going to have Yeet barreling towards you like a freight train, and that rather errant challenge turns into an easy goal because you are stationed right in front of the net. It can't be fully culpable though, Ruben. He's got to have his teammates saying, hey, man on.
And the pace surely has to be there. I think this is something that the Centauri will look to capitalize on. You can see just how quickly they're playing. The difference in movement for this first couple of 30 seconds looks staggering at a glance, but Quartz-Hill just need one little push in to try and subvert those expectations. Big touch, however, as tons of players collide up high in the skies, but the ball always finds its way back to the middle. Husk has an opportunity now for Quartz-Hill to try and get this one centered up, and nice movement from J-Spec to punch home. Similar goal to the first for the Centauri, and now we find ourselves tied up.
Yeah, a bit of a deer in the headlights moment for Exiled as J-Spec's barreling onto that, and difficult angle, yes, but never impossible to score. Nice placement over the top of the keeper, and Quartz-Hill immediately back on level terms.
Husk will go for this one, trying to take advantage of the kickoff possession while they've got it, but nobody lingering that far forward up in the corner to make any sense of that play. They will maintain possession, however, which is something that Quartz-Hill will look to continue as the series goes on. They're doing well to receive every touch that the Centauri give them. Now as Extreme is looking for more out of the corner, unable to find anything. Ruben with a huge block away, and Quartz-Hill starting to establish themselves. The pressure felt at every angle here. Control and possession. Names of the game, if there were any. Quartz-Hill showing off in very many respects, except for in front of their net. Extreme gets Centauri back out in front.
Hey, do you know how you lose the game? It's by leaving your net wide open. Overcommitment for Quartz-Hill, and no one at home to protect that long and rather opportunistic shot from Extreme to wins. Could have gone wrong, but as long as you get it on target, that is the most important thing. And CalCA re-established that lead, almost put a third through Exiled.
Starting to look really strong here. Breakaway opportunity to commit, unable to really come to a consensus as to how to get that shot off, our Quartz-Hill. So they're forced to back up just a bit. Demos traded, however. Yeet comes through to try and solve the calamity that is created and has time to somewhat turn around for this one, but Extreme called into action in the Centauri, looking for this hold from the midfield line. Exile turns around. Extreme with a nice little pop. 1-2-1 possible off the back wall. Yeet going for the shot, but the defensive touch is fast enough. Extreme goes for that far post, but unsuccessful, and somehow we don't get a score.
What a well-worked move, only to not lead to a goal. They're going to be feeling pretty bad about my teeth fell out. I put them back in. They're going to be feeling pretty bad about that, the Centauri, I feel, but nevertheless, they do still have that goal advantage. We hit halftime, still looking strong. No need to panic just yet, as another shot on target is put away by J-Spect.
Got to make sure, however, the Quartz-Hill are fast to those defensive touches, because it's only so much to jump with desperation to those clears. Now J-Spect gets a good handle on one. Waterfalls down, but opted for the demo rather than the shot. Was hoping that the support system was in tow, but unfortunately late to the party. As Quartz-Hill now forced to back up yet again. 2 minutes to play. Surely not a dire situation in this exact moment, but as the time continues to tick down, when Quartz-Hill is presented with an opportunity, they've got to take advantage. Here's another one. Ruben shot on. Ruben scores. What a way.
Textbook. Read it. This is how you put power behind a shot when you don't have a great starting position. Utilizes that flip at the perfect time. Pitch perfect connection with the front bumper, unsavable from that distance in front of net. That is exactly how you get yourself back into another tie scenario. Now for Quartz-Hill, Gaugen, they gotta try and find that go-ahead goal. It is no good continually being one step behind.
Oh, and they had so much space to try something there. Opted to play the patient game, but it didn't pay off quite yet, as Extreme will push this one all the way down under 90 to play. Level heading. J-Spect is going to receive a nice juicy one here, but Extreme having none of it. Goes for the early challenge, tries to play low against Ruben, who already jumped up for it. Now to commit from Quartz-Hill. The shot is relatively open, and Yeet, in a masterclass fashion, has found the upper 90 and the leading goal.
Soft, supple, simply brilliant. That's an excellent redirect with just little enough power to not get into the defender's way to get into the defender's trajectory, I should say. Excellent go-ahead goal once again, but this time the defense a little more lax. Forces a late save from Exiled as Ruben goes round the world looking for a bump on the keeper. No one biting the bait.
They've got the ball lingering here, however, and you need someone to bring that punch home for Quartz-Hill. They've got everything going for them, but Yeet now a clear right down the midfield line will force Ruben to play that one to relative safety and gets a second for good measure. Can they get a third? Not quite. Husk, though, looking for the center pass yet again. Extreme will block aside under 40 seconds and counting as the Centauri look to hold on, but that is a nice pop for J-Spect, who will be the first one. Sends it on target. Exiled with a massive save and touch away to the corner, but the ball is still relevant, and Quartz-Hill are still going for it, forced to back up yet again.
This ping pong game, you just get the impression it needs a finisher to truly put it to bed. Otherwise, we might be going into our first overtime of the entire evening. It seems strange to think that we've had so many great games, 2 wonderful series, and yet no overtime played whatsoever. Well, it seems like that particular record is going to continue unless the continuum keep this ball up. There's little boost to work with. It goes around the corner. Shot opportunity. Great save from Exiled. Back away it goes into the midfield. It is spiked, and it is Centauri with first blood.
Nearly impossible situation to get back from that first shot. You know, your knee-jerk reaction is to get back, rotate through, grab the boost from the corner, but simply not enough time to get it done. But what could have been for Quartz-Hill right there? There's only so much that they could think about that 0-second opportunity, because opportunities presented themselves in the rest of the game here. So for Quartz-Hill, moving forward, you know, you've got a close game. You mentioned as well, we've gone 14 games now collectively over these series without an overtime as well. It just comes with making that statement a bit earlier. Too many of these teams are a bit too comfortable with leaving everything to the final moments, looking for that one golden opportunity. But even if Quartz-Hill find that level goal to make it 3-all at 0 seconds, they've still got to win the overtime. There's still work to be done there.
And actually, you wouldn't have bet against the Centauri to win that overtime once they got there. There was just this vibe during that game that Quartz-Hill were just catching up. They never seemed to be able to get on top of the possession at any point. Whenever they came forward, more often than not, it was through counter-attacking rather than fashioning a move between themselves and being proactive. I guess what I would like to see is a little less fear. I'd like to see them be a little more brash, perhaps. Show some faux complacency, because if you go ahead, you're asking your opponents to respond. And I don't think that the Centauri ever felt under any real pressure, despite those equalizing goals.
And it's that delicate balance you mentioned, you know, being a bit more brash and going forward for these opportunities. It's great to see, but at the same time, I feel like you can in these situations to go so far forward that once you get scored on once, you start to dial it back a little bit, and then you get comfortable with sitting in your back ranks and you create this habit out of it. Obviously, every team is different, but what's not different, the early goal in these games. This time it's Quartz-Hill, however, as J-Spect gets us going.
Nice, straight off the rip. And Husk with a beautiful setup. J-Spect, you got to respect the placement as well. Now, if I'm not mistaken, was Husk playing last game? Husk might have been playing last game. They do, of course, have a sub available in Stacken, but whatever has changed, if it was just some luck off the kickoff or whether it was pure skill, the Continuum have that go-ahead goal that they were searching for throughout the entirety of game one. And now it's about holding on to it and making sure that Centauri don't get a sniff of the equalizers that Quartz-Hill were afforded.
And you are right on it, just to confirm. It has been Husk all in this series thus far. We have not seen Stacken just yet. Going into the second game of the series, remains to be seen whether or not that substitution will be made. The same not afforded to the Centauri. 3 strong are their roster, and they'll have to get it done with the players provided. Not that they can't, but that they need to find a way in order to do so. Yeet is trying to set this one from the corner, played over towards Exiled Extreme, eyeing it up from the ceiling, goes down. Beautiful on the execution of that challenge. And they've got Quartz-Hill back on the defensive line, bit slow to clear. If ever there was an opportunity to level things early on, you would think it would be here and now, but the crossbar says no to Extreme until it doesn't. Second tap is good.
Yeah, he's running that Kiwi livery, and that was quite fruity of him to almost score with the bicycle kick. Puts it in the far post. No harm, no foul. But this is now the second time that we've picked up on the Centauri being just meandering in defense and taking a little too long to get out of their own half. They looked pretty comfortable, all things said, at the midfield line, but the moment that they start to think for longer than 10 seconds, they're holding the ball, you're inviting your opponents onto the situation, and the Centauri have scored plenty of goals, including this one. Drop down and Extreme 2 wins. He's got Extreme 2 goals.
Absolutely dominating those upper levels of the field. Look at that touch. Fantastic tap down. Unfortunate situation for the Quartz-Hill defense there, as scrambled as they were. A relatively safe chance to save that one away on the bounce, but the read too difficult to make. You see Extreme going for a touch like that, and you back it to laser into that top corner. It doesn't immediately, but a goal is a goal. A fancy one at that, and Exiled once more. The Centauri is starting to get hungry, but look at the ground pinch. Forces Extreme into action, but what a goal that would have been to tie us up.
Just needed a little bit more velocity! Extreme 2 wins, popping off! Just starts from his own books, would you believe? Up he goes, spikes, gets the flippery off the ceiling, and dunks it like LeBron.
You know what, Extreme? Lesson learned. If you're screaming towards the goal like that, I'm just gonna let it happen, and a goal will surely fall in, because you have convinced me right now. This is the sort of standout performance that we love to see from a team that is looking to make a statement early on in the series. Exiled and Yeet are helping out immensely, but Extreme has really come into form here in Game 2.
And they're looking for more. The Centauri, 1 down, scored 3 on the bounce. Ruben trying to navigate his way through dodgy waters, but the sea's too strong. And even though the shot does come away, the powers that be are back in town to make the defensive saves. But Husk finds some clarity through the fog, gets a goal back.
And we're not done just yet. You thought we were, but we've still got more to go. Husk with a beautiful jump over the top of 2 defenders playing close to that ball, hoping it falls right into their lap, but all hope is quickly dashed. And we match the goal score total and the exact score, mind you, of the end of game number 1. Still half to go. Surely we see more driven in between these two teams, but that tells me one thing. The offenses are here to not mess around. Defense will certainly make a huge statement in this series if they come through, because that will be all the difference maker. Oh, what a shot, Extreme, to get them back to the 2-goal lead.
Watch the trajectory of Husk here. Gets caught on the goal line, messing about. An awful launch pad using the inside side of the goal. That's never gonna end well if you're going into a challenge with an opponent who is attacking the ball from an upward down trajectory. Extreme 2 wins, might even get another here. That flick was going slightly wide, even though J-Spec gets the save. Centauri have turned up to play, and they are playing mightily well, even better than game number 1.
This is California really showing up and showing out here. Quartz-Hill themselves have moments to be proud of, but moments short-lived as the CalCA Centauri have come through, made their mark, and shown why they are deserving of this championship, even without game 2 being decided just yet. 90 seconds to play now on the clock as Quartz-Hill are faced up against it. The pressure is on to find a goal, trying to break through the corner. J-Spec once more, but forced into a no-boost challenge. Look at the connection, and Ruben flying into his own goal just to get the save.
You know, Centauri, they are the Connections Academy, but they're really lacking them right now. It's their opponents who are popping off big time. For Quartz-Hill, it just seems like it's a bunch of individual actions which are earning them the goals, rather than passing plays, breaking open the defense. Centauri, time and time again, it just looks great. And Ruben, even though that's a nice pop over one player, runs out of boost at a terrible time, still 2 goals shy with 40 seconds left to find them.
It's up to the back wall yet again, but everybody has to back up to the midfield line. Ruben will be the first to go. Looks for the corner, nice dish out to Husk, but J-Spec too far back, has to respect the space, and Yeet pulls off the ball, potentially to kill even more time off. Exiled plays it to the crossbar though, and everybody's gone. Extreme needs to make a quick recovery and can't do it. 26 seconds now for Quartz-Hill to find the equalizer.
1v1 scenario, the world at your feet, still a difficult situation to be in. Lovely work. Sees Extreme coming in from the left. That means you got to shoot to the left, because Extreme is expecting you to shoot it away from him, far away enough that even at supersonic speed, you're not going to be able to reach it. Now, 20 seconds to find an equalizer. J-Spec does really well. That's on target. Extreme 2 wins, finds the save. Husk back into the center. There's Extreme 2 win. Yeet, a bit of a miscommunication. And there's the shot. It's Ruben 4-4.
As soon as that kickoff goes, the stars align for Quartz-Hill. They have the highway lit up right in front of them for miles, and they find the goal as a result. That is one that you need to score, and yet they executed it like the Centauri had no chance to save it in all the world. 10 seconds now with a tie game. Do we finally see our first extra time of the evening, or does somebody have a response? It might be the Centauri if Yeet can get this ball up in the sky, but nobody gets it off the ground, and we're into OT.
That's the first major mistake that CalCA have made, and it cost them a goal. It cost them an overtime appearance, and now Quartz-Hill, the wind is under their wings. They can see a win to right the ship, so to speak. They lose a 100 boost pad, but Husk steps in, relieves the pressure immediately. That's bounced out lovely, beautifully for J-Spec. Sadly, the shot is woefully sour. Exile, that's a lot better. Big save from Ruben, the savior who even forced this overtime in the first place. 30 seconds have elapsed. Open game.
Great awareness, though, from Exile to take that fast shot. Ruben was in a very awkward position. Now Extreme with a beautiful pass forward. Exile has a double off the back wall, and Ruben says no. A defensive masterclass here, and Yeet can't find the shot, so the Centauri forced to search yet again. Ruben taps back the other way, and both teams are generating these opportunities so quickly that you cannot blink or you will miss it. Exile plays this one with a flip reset,
what a
and Ruben
save.
denies yet again. Husk with a clear.
The man has just climbed Everest metaphorically, and how about that for a pass? Wowzers, 5-4 Quartz-Hill.
We have got a series. Ruben, so many saves in extra time, and the absolute dime of a pass to put the icing on the cake. Husk taps it home. The defense doesn't have a chance, and this series is on. That overtime, the 2-0 series lead for CalCA is much more threatening than this now 1-all series scoreline. Oh my goodness, Relic, I'm getting real excited for this one.
They might be the Hill of Quartz, but they got a ruby in their midst. He's got the minerals. Wow. X Factor, clutch moment. Get that goal to take them to overtime. And then after 2 sensational saves, by the way, the pixel perfect pass into Husk. All he had to do was apply the finish, and he did so with aplomb. If those first 2 games are how the rest of this series goes, we're entering the best series of the night easily.
I have to agree. And I also have to think, as we continue on, we had 5 combined goals in game number 1, 9 combined. The upward trajectory doesn't make a whole lot of sense because we are in 3s. Surely enough of the shots will be saved away. But my question is, when will one of these teams win a very scrappy 1-0 game? It doesn't look like it because, again, the early goal trend seems to be intact, and indeed it is. Extreme gets the Centauri the first.
That's a hat-trick in game number 2, and he starts off the scoring in game number 3. That's a lovely pass as well. Beats 2 players to the ball. It's an early lead for CalCA, but Quartz-Hill, there was some strong defense to start with. It just got a little bit too much as J-Spec gets away with it, or do they? My goodness, Husk had to readjust quickly, make the save, and that's a lovely clearance to the midfield line as well.
A real step up of pace, though, from CalCA. They're pushing for this one now. They want to establish this lead early, and they are reaping the benefits of their efforts right here, right now. Extreme notches 2 just outside of the first 30. Exiled with a beautiful pass with plenty of pace. And CalCA gets that 2-0 lead.
It's not about Zealand, it's his land at the moment. Extreme 2 wins can't stop scoring. But can they keep Quartz-Hill from scoring? That was their downfall in game number 2. And again, caught napping in front of their own goal mouth, unable to get past the halfway zone for more than mere seconds. It is looking a lot better from the Centauri. No wonder they should be angry, I think, after that game 2 loss, after all of their goals proved worthless in the end, in the grand scheme of the scoreline. They're forced out from the back now after an elongated bit of possession in their own third. Lovely challenge there from Extreme 2 Wins, goes through the corner. That's a lovely layoff to Exiled, and it's Husk to the rescue again.
And not to paint this series as a David versus Goliath situation, but you can tell the Centauri had a sweep in the back of their minds, and they are trying to claw it back. But Ruben putting on a show offensively this time. Quartz-Hill get there first.
Beautiful. Again, lovely placement of the car onto the ball. Could not have got more power behind that had he tried. I mean, maybe a pinch, but look, you're in midair. There's so much you could do from there. All you are asked to do is hit the target. Does so. It's a 1-goal game, settles the nerves if there were any, and now they can move forward. Still plenty of this game left to run.
And you have a feeling that it's going to change hands multiple times before we get to 0 seconds. These teams have not been too keen to necessarily stop the flow of goals. And so, again, we could very well see another barn burner up in the 4-all, maybe even 5-all if we continue at this rate, but it has slowed down quite a bit here. 1, 2, 3. However, what hasn't slowed down is the pace of these shots. They are coming on so fast that the defense has to react with absolute precision.
That's great read from J-Spec. That was such a difficult shot to try and save. And there he is again, stopping the marauding run of Extreme 2 wins. Ruben sees a chance, gets the touch before Yeet. His Extreme 2 wins back, got boost, and kind of loses the ball for a bit and gets demoed for his troubles. Gets the demo on J-Spec as well. Briefly a 2v2. Handoff situation. Husk running ahead of the ball, looking for bumps, looks for the bicycle kick, and there's Extreme 2 wins again. Good at defense and offense.
Oh, speaking of, a flick on is blocked away by 2 defenders at the same time. Now another center pass, but nobody really available to shoot just yet. And we have truly calmed down in the goal scoring department for the time being. Exiled gets a demo deep into that blue zone, however. An Extreme will streak forward with the ball. Ruben plays this one off the corner. Not quite the best for the defensive touch, but Yeet misses. Window open. 2-on-1. Ruben takes to the sky. Is there a bump in tack?
What a save.
Extreme gets the save away under all the pressure and gets demoed for his efforts, but the ball's not in the back of the net, and that's the most important part.
And now they're trying to do what they couldn't. Oh, brilliant, yet brutal. Exiled gets the goal, but watch for Yeet. Ruben eliminated from the picture. Flip reset over the top of J-Spec, who got there in time. Centauri, brilliant.
That's crazy to think that if that flip reset doesn't come in, the shot might even get saved away after all the effort. I mean, all eyes are on Exile there, and Yeet does everything as the lead attacker to get the demo. J-Spec wants this forward pass, but does not connect. And now the hill for Quartz-Hill to climb gets ever so taller here. 90 seconds, 2 goals to find. And every single step that the Centauri take, getting closer to trying to close this series out, feels ever more daunting for Quartz-Hill.
Still seeing some double commits here in the Centauri defense. Exiled left to his own devices. There's J-Spec. Good challenge, actually. That was going wide, but had to be dealt with. Here's J-Spec again. A demo on Yeet. That's via Husk, who was on his way out the net. Ruben, you can see all 3 players ahead of you. Lovely touch there from Extreme 2 wins. This is a lovely move, but the team is shut down by J-Spec, the anchor. That's actually going towards net. Exiled fluffs his lines almost. J-Spec! Oh, dearie me, calamitous!
Oh, my. And time to find the third, but defensively, you've got to be cleaner about this. It's a tough bouncer to handle, and Exiled favors the wall rather than the floor. And that is the key mistake in that situation. 57 seconds to go. Centauri cannot afford another slip up like that because Quartz-Hill like to drive their way in the closing moments. And we all know how Game 2 overtime went for them. Who's to say that Game 3 wouldn't go the same as Centauri look for their chance, but stopped away?
It's a big compliment to Quartz-Hill that they've not just forced 1 but 2 major mistakes out the Centauri. Great work there from Ruben. Spikes that ball back out, but it is burning time here for Quartz-Hill. A bump and a nice bit of combination here to move this ball into the blue half once again, waylaying the boost. They're not going to be able to break through that first layer of defense. And again, Extreme 2 win. Simply too tough, and that's a massive clearance. Yeet and Exiled working in tandem. Oh, how on earth did Ruben get a piece of that? It's on target. Oh my word! J-Spec from nowhere, another save, and yet the attack continues. Centauri not happy with 3-2. They want a 4th. They don't want their opponents to break out, but they are going to have one more chance. J-Spec, oh, it wasn't what we wanted though. Exiled is going to close down that opportunity. The drive though, it's been reinitialized. Ruben, Yeet gets another piece of it. Here's Exiled again. Just trying to keep the orange team away from touching that spherical device. Once again, hits the sidewall. J-Spec's got to readjust. Extreme 2 win, throws it to the far side of the map, and that is a well-earned win for the CalCA Centauri.
Oh, it's another 3-2 regulation win for the Centauri, but that finish was scary. That was something because, again, the Centauri, their form of possession control coming down with a 1-goal lead into the closing moments was, hey, let's just score again. It was Extreme making that quick turn, which is like, you know, in similar situations, you would expect a player in Extreme's position to immediately book it back and be the lead defender against anything that a team like Quartz-Hill would bring, but they subvert that expectation. It works for a moment. There are still scary situations at that 0-second mark that Quartz-Hill could have maybe gotten a push through, but Extreme had that level of confidence to stay in the air, stay in the play, and continue robbing Quartz-Hill of possession as they've done all series long. That is how the Centauri know how to win this game.
And look, as much as that was a very close scoreline, it could have been a bit more handsome for the Centauri. There were a number of shot opportunities which were denied by some heroic defensive actions put together by the Continuum. And at the other side of the pitch, really, we look at that one exiled moment where that was a bit of a gift goal for J-Spect. So I think overall, the Centauri, as much as it was a well-deserved win in that they grinded it out, they held on, and they still looked to be proactive despite coming under pressure, they could have been better. And that is perhaps the most ominous sign for Quartz-Hill moving forward into game number 4.
And I think what it comes down to for me, oh, this is a beautiful pass out forward. Top corner nearly denies it, but J-Spec gets it to fall anyway. Quartz-Hill, they get the early goal this time around just outside of 30 seconds. Beautiful flip amidst all 3 defenders. The corner gifts that one in.
Use that caboose to great effect. Quartz-Hill with an early lead. All 3 players watching on from the Centauri. I have no doubt, however, that the Centauri will find a goal at some point, and that's why it is imperative that Quartz-Hill continue to make hay while the sun is shining. A second goal, a third goal, it might not be enough, but if you're able to put Centauri far enough behind, you give yourself that wiggle room. Nice shot, nice save. Yeet back into the center, but they've been able to, well, I was going to say they were able to clear the lines, but Extreme 2 wins up so fast. And now we can say this is what Quartz-Hill are good at. The transaction into attack. Oh, it hits the post. His Husk again has to go wide.
Tough look there as the third right in the face of a defender, but
pass.
here's another one as well, and still Ruben
Oh my word!
Ruben! It comes down for the second touch, and Ruben taps it home.
He realized there was something more there. He realized there was something more floating there, dancing there like a ballerina and tippy-toeing that ball into the back of the net when most players would have given up on it immediately. Preservation of the drive, perseverance of the idea. Love it.
Oh my goodness, and they still want more. Here's Ruben again, looking for a third, and this is what's so important about the early lead in my head for Quartz-Hill, is because as the series has gone on, it feels like for the first 4 minutes of every game, it is Quartz-Hill chasing CalCA in all the opportunities. And then the final minute kicks in and Quartz-Hill is like, oh, we've got to make a little bit of a comeback here. And they've done pretty well to get to those stages. But this early lead now makes the Centauri reconsider everything that they've been doing, because we haven't seen Extreme be as efficient to the level that we've known. Exiled and Yeet as well have been shut out of what they are most comfortable with. And it's Quartz-Hill finding opportunity after opportunity.
Again?
Husk has 3 touches and only the post to save it away.
Oh, lucky boys. And on the return, they might find something. No, there's Ruben once again. Stand out player. Got a goal, got an assist, and has got it at the moment. That said, a bit of a miscommunication between 2 players. A demo on Husk. The opportunity arises for Centauri to pick up their first goal, but no. Respawns and a quick transition back into their own half. Looking good here for the Continuum. Another save once again. Another demo once again. Yeet denied at the far post this time by J-Spect. Husk has to make the touch. Does so.
Defensive wall standing very strong for Quartz-Hill, and now they get a breakaway as a result. Extreme has to play off the back wall, and great jump down to get the body in front of the ball. Exiled will clamber back the other way to the back wall. Extreme wants a tap, takes it away from Exiled. All 3 are gone. Can Husk get the shot off in time? No. Yeet gets the diffusing touch. Now sent away. Traded demos between Exiled and Husk, and Ruben tries to place this one back. As we now get under 100 seconds to go, Quartz-Hill start to try and look for this possession control. Take the ball away from the Centauri. Deny the first goal, let alone the second.
The quality, okay, never mind. I was going to say that the quality of this game has gone up a tier from A to S, but once again, that continuum defense stutters for a little bit and Exiled quick to the task. Simple tap in, 1-goal game, less than 90 seconds left, Galgan. The door has been left ajar.
And a couple of goals now in this series off of those back wall bouncers so close to the net. They can be one of the toughest ones to read because you're not expecting them, but meanwhile, Yeet is up off the back wall. No double available. The ball too low for the trajectory, but still stays relevant to get a center pass back out to Exiled. Now here comes Extreme. This is a dangerous position with about 90 boost. Stops to go high. J-Spec gets a piece of it, but here comes Yeet for the follow-up off the back wall. Can Exiled get anything? No. Forced to turn around and dodge the defenders looking for the bump as we hit the 60-second mark. The Centauri getting close to finding the equalizer, but that last little piece of real estate they need is currently all bought up.
Continuum are working off pure instinct right now, and none of their instincts could have predicted the Hail Mary right from the blue backboard. Exiled, what a connection on that ball. Yeet was there as well. I think, funnily enough, had he made the touch, had he got the doink, it probably would have been scored. A silver lining, a bit of fortune, but nonetheless, it's 2-2 the score going forward with 45 seconds left.
And it proves the point to expect the unexpected, right? Exiled going for that clear looks rather routine, but everybody from Quartz-Hill buys a little too much into the fact that it might just bounce off the back wall, but it falls ever so nicely into the back of their own net. Here's Extreme looking for a setup, no help to be found. Yeet will go for the follow-up and forces Ruben into action. That's a 1-on-2 that Exiled ends up winning. Extreme has a lead and takes the shot. Centauri complete the comeback for now.
Yeah, J-Spec contemplating why both of them went for that, and by the time he figured out, oh no, the net's in danger, far too late. Extreme 2 wins, had won that race before the green light even clicked in J-Spec's mind, and now Centauri, they've got themselves a lead. They've got very little time to hold on to it. Here's Husk, and that's going to be taken away from him by Extreme. 2 wins, 10 seconds left. There is still time here for the continuum. It's a dribble from Ruben. If anyone's going to score, it's going to be him. He beats 1, he beats 2, he's got help, but Exiled! Oh, he's the last sentry, the last hope, the last defender, and he's won his team the game.
And it gets centered up at the end to create such a bittersweet feeling here for both sides on either end. Oh my goodness. I mean, so much to unpack from that game 4, right? 3-2 seems to be the magic scoreline for the Centauri. They have won all 3 of their games at that exact scoreline. So credit to them. They know how to close out those 5-goal games. But at the same time, like, how many times are we going to get to these heartbreaking 0-second situations where it's like, you're right there, man. Please just pull off the near impossible. So close.
It all came down to he had the help of Yeet. Yeet simply had to get that bump. There was no other option. Exiled, credit to him, stood his ground. There was no more that he could have done, but the bump had to happen. And more importantly, we go back again to that Quartz-Hill defense. At times, impenetrable, one of the best defenses in the high school esports league. I can say that from experience of watching them previously, but time and time again, they have been caught out by thinking too long. Their opponents don't think in the best way.
No, I know exactly what you mean. You go back to all of the armchair analysts on Twitter who just say, hit the ball well, or hit it strong, hit ball, goal, win game, which at its base, yes, Rocket League is like that. Congratulations. But we know it goes deeper than that. Quartz-Hill are just granting too much of their space when it gets to these long stints of offensive possession or the pace that the Centauri are able to carry the ball into the zone with. You cannot overcomplicate it in your head. You've got to keep moving with the same rotations you know. Clear things out as quickly as possible. Make sure that the Centauri don't get looks like that, forcing 2 in because now they've got the window open and Extreme wants the goal but won't get it here. Credit to J-Spec.
Look, you can talk about game plans in the locker room. It is not time to talk about it on the pitch. That's the job of a coach, to inform the players. The players should not be talking about this mid-game. You just got to be communicating, hi, this player's there. I'm going for it. Simples, code, communication. It is something that Continuum needs to get down on a sharper basis. This siege continues from the Centauri. That's on target, and Husk is at least there to put this away. But look, that net is wide open, and Yeet is not going to score.
Oh, tough luck for the Centauri, but they're still picking off so many passes in a situation where, generally speaking, for Quartz-Hill, they're doing a solid job of trying to keep the ball close to each other on defense and not necessarily boom it away for the sake of giving themselves space. But the Centauri continue to just pick them off blatantly, walk into the offensive zone, take the ball away while it's still in close proximity of a Quartz-Hill defender, and that's how they find the opportunities, CalCA. They continue pushing for this, getting aggressive, not necessarily in the bumps and the demos, but just cleanly taking the ball away. I say that, but Extreme finds a goal line demo, trying to set up Exile to Yeet on the connection. The shot doesn't come through just yet. The pressure, though, still relentless for CalCA right now.
An adjustment I would love to point out for the Centauri is their approach to the offense. They've started to pick and choose their moments of demo, but in the midfield, they're starting to throw the ball away from the challenges. Very similar to what we saw actually in the Texas Derby as well, but it's no good if you lose the race to the ball. Yeet in an unfavorable position. Ruben had the high ground. Obi-Wan sends his regards. 1-0 Quartz-Hill.
You want to talk about challenges? That's one right there. Ruben getting up in the face of Yeet, as you said, in that very unfavorable position, but trying to change the fate here. Yeet looking for a clear. Ruben doesn't connect, gets demoed for the efforts. Husk beaten somewhat over the top here. It's going to be so crucial as the seconds continue to tick off because, again, Quartz-Hill find themselves in this situation, having to win 3 back-to-back-to-back, one step at a time is all it takes. We saw earlier Martin Warrior unable to pull off that comeback. What will Quartz-Hill do differently to try and change their fate?
Well, if anyone's going to score, it will surely be partly down to Extreme 2 wins. But nothing as of yet. Oh, well, nothing as of yet, but as if on cue. It's almost like I'm good at my job, Galgan. Almost.
I was going to say, call his name. He shall respond, almost as if listening in. But if you're going to back anybody to score from the Centauri, it's got to be Extreme 2 win. I'm sure the odds on that one fairly low. Not really getting much of a return on investment on that bet, but for good reason. Centauri have put Extreme 2 wins in plenty of scoring chances, and not many of them have missed their mark. Level heading here with 2 minutes to play.
Oh, slight desperation there from Quartz-Hill as they threw the players forward with hope rather than tenacity or idea. I think they've taken what I was asking for a little bit too literally. You do have to have an idea of what you're going to do once you're past the halfway line. You can't just go into the second chapter of this book and make it up as you go along. 90 seconds left, and one thing that we will know for sure is that a conclusion of this series might very well rest on the defense of Quartz-Hill. I'm still looking at that as a defining factor because I've got no doubts that Quartz-Hill can score another goal, be it now in regulation or later in overtime. Is it going to come now? No. Extreme 2 wins with another great defensive play. That said, Centauri are as capable of scoring as anyone, and now with 1 minute 10 left, it starts to lean in favor of that blue team, Galgan. I'm worried.
It's all in the next goal, and I could not agree more. Finding this one, exiled chance. 2 defenders in the way. Ruben credited with a save. The counter is nearly on a redirect, but just sent wide of the far post. Left begging exiled. Now high up on the ceiling. Forces J-Spec into an awkward spot, but nobody can corral the waterfall. Ruben instead to take it. Forces it to the corner as well, as the defense gets somewhat scrambled for the Centauri. Husk looking for the center pass, but Exile done well to get in the way. 30 seconds mark closing in now. Both teams getting
it's a runaway
closer, but Ruben has found the challenge to send it home.
So look, as much as I can say that the longer that this goes on, the more I would favor the Centauri. Quite conversely, the longer that it goes on, the less amount of time that Quartz-Hill, should they have scored, as they have scored, now have to defend this lead. 28 seconds left. Not impossible for the Centauri. They've got time to play with, not just now, but later on in the series, should this be the final scoreline. That said, they want to put their opponents to the sword.
They've still got 15 to go. Husk steals some boost, but Yeet has found Exile. That is a strong touch. Can Extreme get over to it? It's sent close to the bottom corner, but here goes Husk to the sidewall, beats Yeet, and now 5 seconds left. Exiled, one last opportunity. Center pass doesn't come through. It will bounce high, but J-Spect collides in order to get that clear. Still high up in the air. Ruben first 1-2, however, to the back wall, trying to make this as difficult as possible to commit, and the final touch not there. Quartz-Hill survive on 1-goal differential and live to see Game 6.
They get away with it. They get away with it. I cast your mind back to Yeet missing an open net, and that would have been overtime. So let us not beat around the bush here. Quartz-Hill, a little bit lucky that sometimes championships require a little bit of luck. They've got a second game win. Hopefully that can revitalize them. But for me, Centauri still absolutely the favorites moving forward. If XG was a thing in Rocket League, they would have blown Quartz-Hill out of the park.
Oh, it would be absolutely blown out of the water. I have no doubt, because I go back to the previous point, right? And I still feel the same way, where early on in the series, at least for the game, it was Quartz-Hill chasing the Centauri in every respect, and then Quartz-Hill recognized that they needed to make a comeback. They did their best to do so, and to their credit, every single game has ended in a 1-goal differential. You cannot get much closer than that, barring having overtime for every game. We'll see if it's still in store here, but for game number 6, the Centauri, chance number 2 of 3 to close things out. What will be different this time around? Will they be able to stop that last-minute comeback from Quartz-Hill, or is Game 7 in the cards?
You can't tell which of these teams is the number 1 seed. And that's why I said, look, this is a Game 6 or Game 7. I'm glad that we've reached it. And my goodness, are Quartz-Hill happy that Ruben reached that. He has been a star for this team. And although it's come in fits and bursts, the times are opportune. Here's a counter-attack from Quartz-Hill. Hits the backboard, bump on the keeper, but still extremes. Yo!
I don't have many more words than
No
you
way!
do, but there's the goal. You kind of felt it coming from a little ways away, but Exiled finds an initial touch, gets the second. Yeet trying to sow confusion, and J-Spect can't get the read through the screen of 2 attackers. Centauri up on top.
Quartz-Hill have just signed a petition. How do we remove Extreme 2 wins from HSEL? Signed everybody at the school. Unbelievable save. Unbelievable recovery before the save. Then to launch, to begin that counterattack that leads to a goal. Simply put, incredible.
And that's the thing, right? As this series goes on and perhaps meets its conclusion here on Neon Fields, if you have a player like Extreme 2 Wins making such a prolific effort here for the Centauri and now looking for a second goal, and on the other side, the closest comparison you draw is to Ruben, but it's been a bit more sporadic than Extreme, you need that breakout performance to become the standard for Quartz-Hill, or you need the entire 3 to be playing as a simultaneous unit. We've seen far too many doubles come out from Quartz-Hill for them to get away with it every single time. A big clear here, though, could be the ticket in. Ruben has put that shot with well pace, but Yeet saves it from the bottom corner.
What a save. The backflip. Oh, and sold a tummy only for Ruben to come to the rescue again. And it's round the corner to Husk. Hits the post. And finally, J-Spec, the trio combine on the stroke of half-time. 1-1.
You cannot predict who's going to find these goals, because the opportunities look like they are mirrored on either side, and yet it's one ever so slight difference that finds it in for Quartz-Hill. They're alive, but for how much longer? 2:39 to play, and they're able to get the counter through, but it's not without Centauri getting looks of their own, like Exiled off the kickoff. Extreme once more from the corner, looking for the center, but denied for the time being.
Yeet. That's a neutral challenge. This one a little bit more conclusive. J-Spect steals the boost and immediately runs out of road. It's a bit of a miscommunication here. I think there were 2 sort of two types of mind, two types of attack, and neither really came together. It's given Centauri the ball. They look to recycle this arsenal and fire the cannons again, but they themselves have been caught in two minds now. It's a bit of a mess here in the midfield. Finally entered a shot, and J-Spect puts the continuum ahead.
Kings of the Chaos is sometimes all it takes. Ruben, beautiful pass back out to the mid there against, moving forward through that corner and catching the Centauri out too far. It is 2-1 now, under 2 minutes to play, and it's starting to get real at this point because Quartz-Hill are clawing their way back into these close games. They stay close, but the question is, do Quartz-Hill have a way to mark their stamp in this series more emphatically than this, or will they be comfortable holding this 1-goal lead because the Centauri have not been devoid of chances? You just need to find the one that sticks.
Yeah, they held a lead for 30 seconds, didn't they? Now can they do it for triple that time? One would suggest that another goal will surely put things to bed. But are they going to score that other goal? Again, you still would favor Centauri in this position, but they are doing well enough, the continuum, to try and keep that ball away from any sort of blue car that dares enter the vicinity. 1 minute left now, and that decent clear is going to be met by Yeet. Husk goes up, Exiled wins it, backboard, Ruben in no man's land. But that said, everyone's committed. Oh, and Exiled nicks it away from Husk, who had no boost to shoot.
Huge sigh of relief, a deep breath here for the Centauri. Job not done. Here goes Yeet. Big jump. Doesn't get the ball cleanly, but Exiled will try to pick it from the sidewall. Not quite successful on the first attempt either. Center pass works out to Extreme, gets a bunch of defenders to commit, but there's the clear through for Husk. Can Quartz-Hill wrestle possession away and try and kill off more time from this clock? Extreme wants to say no. Exiled wants even more off the back wall, but here goes Ruben all the way back down to try and level this one out. Under 20 seconds to go. The Centauri need a response right here. It's Exiled first to the ball. J-Spec blocks it away, but here goes Yeet in the sky to Exiled. 1-2 pass. Exiled has a good look at a center here off the back wall, and it works out. Extreme gets the challenge against two. Yeet, they're both there. Dribbling to the bottom corner, but Husk denies. It's still up in the air. All hope not lost, but the Centauri's best chance gets slammed down to the ground, and we get game 7.
You could tell that there were so many jitters because just 20 seconds prior, two players aimed for 100 boost, and both of them missed the pad. That was... I was nervous watching that from a commentary position, but we are overjoyed. We are blessed with a game 7 to end the night, and this series has been everything that we were hoping for.
It truly has. I mean, looking back at the evening as a whole, out of a possible 21 games, we've gone to 20. You can't ask for much more. And this series specifically has given us so much to like from both sides. We get back to the central themes of, is it going to be this Extreme versus Ruben matchup? How much are the cores of both of these teams going to affect the play, taking advantage of the mistakes being made? Because there have been some truly chaotic moments in this one, especially in game 6 right now. J-Spec's pass out of that pure chaos that erupted in the middle of the field. My goodness, game 7, I am not fully ready for what it may entail, but all I know is that a deserving champion waits on the end.
To a stadium that celebrates the top echelon, the top tier of motorsport, where we're going to be finding out who is the number one, the S tier of California within 5 minutes, plus any added time that may ensue. Quartz-Hill up against Cali Connections Academy. And speaking of the devil, they almost got themselves an opening goal. Clearance into the midfield. Ruben spikes it high. J-Spect goes to the corner, but there's Yeet to receive.
And in a game 7 situation, almost is not going to cut it. Almost a rule 1, however, right as I say, and not really sure whether the players would have elected to hold that one given the circumstances, but it's all hypotheticals. That's a nice touchdown, but nobody's really buying into it with full stock there for Quartz-Hill. Ruben!
Oh, what a chunk!
However, and that's quite the way to get the first goal of game 7.
If he was a Pokemon, he'd be a psychic type. Yeet! Oh my goodness. No help, no support. Would any have helped? I'm not so sure. Ruben comes in clutch again. Opener for the Continuum.
And if this is the Ruben we're going to get for all of Game 7, Centauri going to be shaking in their wheels and axles right now. Another waterfall down. Now J-Spec with the follow, but Yeet comes through to save the day. Husk pulls off. J-Spec doesn't have an angle, and everybody else retreats for the time being. Try to hold from the midfield line, and J-Spec does just that. Quartz-Hill trying to batten down the hatches already, but it may not be enough as Exiled sends one on. Extreme with a demo and more out of the corner. Trying to hold on to possession here. Time continuing to tick, however, against the Centauri. Double, not quite. Follow-up from Extreme also sent wide.
Perhaps the greatest compliment we can pay Quartz-Hill is how little we've been talking about the name of Extreme 2 wins in the final third. He has had to lie deeper and deeper as every game has progressed. And it's not to say that his influence on the game isn't seen. I mean, goodness, we saw that exceptional counterattack not a game ago, yet he's not scoring as many goals. And those goals were big. Those goals were difference makers. And speaking of goals, that's a second for Quartz-Hill. The number 1 seed has daylight.
And it's a touch out of the corner that Ruben picks off, but Husk, what a shot. You gotta give credit where credit is due. That's a massive touch to make. Defender is fully ready to try and save that away from Ruben, and it is just absolutely slotted to that far side. Beautiful work from Husk. Quartz-Hill, fantastic way to find themselves a second. Now J-Spec wants even more, but the bottom corner is a tough nut to crack there. Exiled saves it away.
Husk, that's a risk to take. With little boost, he's gone for a proactive sideways hit, but it's worked out, bought his team time to move back into defense themselves. There's another save from J-Spec. The shots keep on coming. The pressure keeps on mounting, but the Continuum continues to survive. Proactive challenge from Ruben. He's Yeats from back inside his own half. Misses that round the corner. J-Spec throws it over to the far corner. Now located in the blue half. Extreme 2 wins. Doesn't suss him out. This a little bit more worksmanlike. Reaches the orange backboard. That's only going to go as far as Extreme 2 wins, who completely misreads it. Husk gets ahead of him. And all of this time burning. It leaves 2 minutes to find 2.
And Quartz-Hill, as all three, they've really been connecting with the ball. Husk has found some very strong touches as well to assist in the process. Yeet has nobody to hit this to. Open space, forces Extreme into a challenge, but look at that. They create something from nothing, seemingly. Yeet at the mid, waits patiently for the pass back, and they've got there first.
And that was panic from J-Spec. He had so much more time than he realized, and that hit, it gives the ball straight to the Centauri, who are already so far placed up the pitch that they're able to capitalize on it for once. That's a win in the kickoff scenario. I think it was just going to hit the post rather than go in, but danger still for Centauri. As much as they are looking for that second goal, they've got to deny a third for the Continuum.
And surely rather play safe than sorry wherever they can. This one nearly finds its way in off the corner. Extreme dives to get another save again on the odd angle. Yeet and Exiled combine to take that one away. Now Ruben wants a second touch, but doesn't get it, and that'll leave Yeet to get a massive clear to the back wall. Couple of misses. Here's the goal. Yeet is able to score. You can tell that one was coming, and we're level again.
Bit of desperation from Quartz-Hill yet again. It's a miss off the backboard. Yes, a difficult read, but the men had been committed forward, and you simply had to get that 1-1-1 on the clock. 2-2, our scoreline from 2-0 up. Lest us not forget, is the full reversal about to happen? Husk, it smushes up against the backboard. There's the shot, it's off the crossbar.
Oh, lest we forget the threes in the series, but now 1 minute to go. And Exiled will try and find the go-ahead goal in the closing moments as the Centauri now taking to the offensive in the final moments of the game, trying to change the script, change their fate. But Exiled gets challenged early by Ruben in the corner. All three stacked up there from Quartz-Hill. They've got to get a clear going, and they force Extreme into a backwards position, but Exiled pries the clear away. That one's going to the back wall. Ruben's got to be careful. Yeet nearly picked the ball clean off. Extreme gets this centered up, and Centauri can't stop with these strong chances, but a massive clear back the other way.
And that's exactly what they wanted. It's a massive clear back to the halfway line, but that ferocious offense, you needed to find something to hit the halfway line. A strong reversal. That's a doink forward! Exiled 3-2, the magic scoreline.
Always been the one to find those kinds of shots. What an angle, driving backwards, a little help from the post, but it doesn't matter. 11 seconds in Quartz-Hill now with a goal to score to force OT.
It has to be now. They win the kickoff, but Exiled wins possession thereafter. It's in their own corner. A bit of confusion as Yeet is swamped by orange players, falls out to the midfield line, but it's Exiled again. Oh, and it's not going to hit the car before the timer went to nil. The second seed, CalCA, win the California Invitational.
This series, where do we even begin, honestly? I mean, huge congratulations to CalCA Centauri for getting the win over the line. If you asked me at the end of game number 1, who would win this series, I would probably hedge my bets on the Centauri. Now, if Quartz-Hill are the ones to come away with the series win, I immediately look at game 2, and I'm like, that comeback into the overtime win, fantastic turning point to the series. But the fact that CalCA were so consistent with their wins, quite literally winning every single one of their 4 games 3-2. It's kind of creepy when you think about it, but when you look at it in the bigger picture, it makes perfect sense. Extreme was on it. Exiled and Yeet as a duo, they knew exactly where each other were at times when they were clicking, and everything made sense. They won that all-important 4th game. My goodness, that was such an amazing series to cap this night off.
And look, it's all about the microcosm of Game 7. One team cracked in big moments, the other team did not. That consistency, it is critical, it is king, it is key, and it unlocks the door to, I guess, our exit from this wonderful trio of invitationals. The High School Esports League provides again, and be sure to keep an eye out on Twitter, High School Esports League, for news of the spring season. It's going to be exciting. Fingers crossed we'll be bringing the homeroom back for more action across a variety of games, new names, and perhaps some names that we've seen here tonight stepping into the spotlight once again. A big thank you to the wonderful Panda behind the scenes, bringing you all of the pretty pictures. Hey, Galgan, do you want to do High School Esports League again?
Oh, I am thinking, oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's no question about it. I don't even need to consider it. This Rocket League was some of the best Rocket League I've seen in quite a while. And that's comparing it to, players that maybe should be a little bit better compared to their ranks. But regardless, this was such a great time. Relic, thank you so much for doing this with me.
Dude, pleasure is all mine. Thank you all for joining us. Hope to see you again soon. I've just been Relic. And from all of us here, it's a very warm goodbye.